Hello everyone, welcome back to Simpson Notches. Thank you so much for joining in, and if this is your very first time, welcome to the family. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you'll be the first to know whenever we have new content on this channel. So without any further ado, let us get started. For today's tutorial, these are the measurements that we are going to be using. We have the sit/hip measurement, and we have the body rise measurement. We have the inside leg measurement. So those are the three measurements that we need to draft today's pattern. So these are the tools that we are going to be using today. I have got my pattern master, I have got my tracing wheel, I've got my pencil, paper scissors, fabric scissors, measuring tape, masking tape. If you've got sellotape, that would do. I have got my case of pins, that is sewing pins, and I have got my pattern paper. So when it comes to pattern paper, you can do with any paper you've got as long as it does the job. You can get pieces of paper together and sellotape them all together, making it a very wide sheet that is enough for your pattern, and that will do. I have got my straight ruler. I've got a very long ruler, so if you've got a short ruler, that would do as well. If you've got everything, it's time to get started. The very first thing we need to do is to draw a vertical line at the center of your pattern paper, and make sure your pattern paper is wide enough for your pattern. So the measurement you need for the vertical line is the length of your trousers. So whatever length you have chosen, it's totally up to you to use that measurement. But for me, I am using the medium size trouser length, which is 110.2 centimeters. So for this tutorial, we are going to be using centimeter instead of inches. So wherever it is in centimeters, you can convert that to inches if you prefer. But for simplicity's sake, we are going to be using centimeters. So I have already got my long ruler, and I'm going to draw a vertical line at the center of my pattern paper. Next, we are going to mark our points. Now for this, at the top of our vertical line, which we've just drawn at the center of our pattern paper, we are going to call this point 0. So that is point 0. So in order for us to get point 1, we need to measure a measurement of the body rise, which is 28.2 centimeters. And we are going to add 2 centimeters to that measurement. That is going to give us 30.2 centimeters. And that will be our point 1. So 0 downwards, we're going to measure 30.2 centimeters, and that will be point 1. So this is point 1. So for point 2, we are going to go to the end of our vertical line, and that will be point 2. So next, before we get point 3, we are going to just square across from point 1, we'll square across, and from point 2, we are going to square across as well. So square this across, and we are going to also square across from point 2. So for point 3, we are going to measure the distance between point 1 and point 2, and we are going to divide that by 2, and that will give us point 3. So from point 1 to 2, that is 81 centimeters, and we are going to divide that by 2. Mark that, and that will give us 40.5 centimeters. And we are going to mark it. And this new point is going to be 0.3. So we have 0.0, 0.1, 0.3, and 0.2. What we need to do next is to square across like we did previously. Make sure it's a straight line. And you square across. So the next thing we are going to do is to mark in 0.4. And 0.4, we are going to measure from 0.1. And we are going to measure along this line a quarter of our hip or a quarter of our sit measurement. And we are going to add 4 centimeters to that measurement. And that will be 29.5 centimeters. So make sure you refer to the measurement on the screen, and that would take you to 0.4. So let's get our ruler, measure along this line, 29.5 centimeters, and we're going to mark that as 0.4. So once that is marked in, we're just going to call this 0.4. I'm just going to write it here, 0.4. So for 0.5, we are going to measure the distance between 0.1 and 0. We're going to use that measurement to draw a line from 0.4 upwards. At the tip of that point, we are going to call that 0.5. So first of all, measure from 0.1 to 0. And that will give us 30.2 centimeters. And that measurement, we are going to use it to draw a straight line upwards. And at the tip of that point, we are going to call that 0.5. So you need to get your ruler and measure from 0.4. We're going to measure 30.2 and draw a straight line upwards once you have that measurement. And we are going to call this point 0.5. So now we have 0.5, we are going to mark in 0.6. And 0.6, we are going to measure from 0.5, 1 centimeter. And that will give us 0.6. So you're going to measure 1 centimeter from 0.5 inwards. And this will give us 0.6. So in order for us to get 0.7, we are going to measure the distance between 0.4 and 5, which is 30.2 centimeters. We're going to divide that by 4, and that is the quarter of that measurement. So we're going to divide that by 4, which is approximately 7.6 centimeters. So that is a quarter of the measurement between 4 and 5. And that will give us 7.6 centimeters. So to mark in 0.7, we are going to place our ruler from 0.4 upwards to give us 0.7, using our measurement that we just measured, which is 7.6 centimeters. We are going to mark 7.6 centimeters from 0.4 upwards. And this will give us 0.7. So to get 0.8, you are going to measure from 0.1 to 4. Whatever you get, you have to divide that by 4. And that is a quarter of that measurement. And that will give us 0.8. That will give us the measurement we need for 0.8. And that is approximately 6.9 centimeters. So we are going to place our ruler from 0.4, and we are going to measure 6.9 centimeters. And this new point is 0.8. So next, from 0.4, we are just going to place our ruler, making sure you place your ruler in an angle or diagonally. We are going to measure 3 centimeters from 0.4. So 0.4, that's 0.4. And we are going to measure on an angle or diagonally, we are going to measure 3 centimeters upwards. So this is how it's going to look. Yeah, so 3 centimeters. So that's 3 centimeters upwards. And once that is drawn in, we are going to join 0.6, 0.7. We are going to draw a curved line touching that new point and making it curve to 0.8. So we're going to take our pattern master to draw in that curve. Mind you, we are going to first of all create the front part of the trousers. So we're going to use dotted lines to differentiate the front piece to the back piece. So I'm going to get my pattern master and draw in that new shape, a curve shape. I have my pattern master, but first of all, I am going to draw a straight line joining 0.6 to 7, a straight dotted line or dash line. So I'm just going to draw in that line. Making sure it's touching 0.7. So once that is drawn in, I am going to get the curve part of my ruler, my pattern master rather, and I'm going to use that to draw in a curve shape. Mind you, we are using dashed lines or dotted lines to draw in that new curve shape. So from 0.7, I'm going to gently draw in the dash line. So as you can see, we form our new line joining 0.6, 0.7, and 0.8. So the next thing we are going to do is to draw in 0.9. In order for us to get the measurement for 0.9, we need 2/3 of the measurement between 0.1 and 0.4. That is 2/3 of the measurement between 0.1 and 0.4. And that will give us 19.7 centimeters. And we are going to add 2 centimeters to that measurement, and that will give us 21.7 centimeters. So that is the measurement that we need for 0.9. So now that we have the measurement, we are going to place our ruler on 0.2. And using that measurement we got earlier, which is 21.7 centimeters. Once we have that, that is going to give us 0.9. So we have that, and that is 0.9. And this is 0.9. To get 0.10, we are going to place our ruler on 0.3 and measure 21.7 centimeters, the same as what we have for the distance between 2 and 9. So we're going to measure that same measurement to give us 0.10. So here we got 21.7 centimeters, and we are going to use the same measurement for 0.10. So we're going to place our ruler from 0.3 and we are going to measure along the line 21.7 centimeters. And we are going to join, so that's point 10. So we are going to join 9 to 10 with a straight line or a vertical line. So this is point 10. So we need to get point 11. And for point 11, we are going to measure from point 10 2 centimeters outwards, and that will give us point 11. So the new point is point 11. In order for us to draw the inner leg shape, remember we are going to use the dotted line that is to indicate the front pattern from the back. So we're going to join point 9 to 11 with dotted lines. So I'm going to get my straight ruler for this one and join both points with dotted lines. So we've joined that with dotted lines, and we are going to join point 8 to 11, but we are not going to draw it very straight. We are going to draw it with a little bit of curve, giving us that not too straight vibe. So we're just going to take it from here and draw a curve line meeting point 11. So first of all, I'm going to use my pencil to just give me a shape. Preferably you can use your curve ruler, but if you don't have, feel free to use your pencil to just give you a guide. So what I normally do is just draw from here and using free hand with your pencil to draw in a curved shape connecting 11 to 8 or 8 to 11. So once I have a rough sketch, I am going to use my ruler to draw in the line properly. Now I'm using this in case you don't have a curve ruler. Drawing shapes and curved lines like this, you can just use your pencil to draw in that line, and later you can correct it using your pattern master, making sure it's a correct placement. And I'm going to just draw the dotted lines on the rough sketch or the rough line that I just drew in. So as you can see, make sure you are joining them, having a smooth connection, and that will give you the inner leg shape for the front pattern. So in order for us to get the waistline for the front pattern, we're going to connect point 0 to 6 using our dotted line or dash lines. So now we have our front part of our trouser block. So next we need to draft in the back pattern piece of this block.